Hey, this is Sam Black with my second match with blue-white control in Modern. I'm on the play. I have a functional hand here. Play the Colonnade and then the Wall of Omens and hope that finds me lands that I can use these 4-drops. This hand is potentially a little slow, but it helps that I can path my Wall of Omens potentially. Though, well, we'll see how it goes. My opponent playing Wild Nacatl indicates this is a matchup where I'm not likely to want to use a path on my own creature, so drawing a land helped. Also drawing an extra path helps, since there's a correlation between not wanting to use a path on my own creature and it being a matchup where having path is good. Wall of Omens is also pretty good here. Cycles through your Wraith. Alright, so now I'm playing against the deck that I thought I might have been playing against last round. Death Shadow Zoo. So, I think I like this hand here, and hopefully this matchup will have a lot of the traits of the last matchup that made it good for me. I'd also be surprised if my opponent can get a land from more than one of these paths, and 0 is a real possibility. So I'm going to be able to hit my 4th land, which is nice. And the fact that this is Mystic Gate specifically is actually ideal, because it means that I can get a Plains with this Flooded Strand so that I can use 2 paths this turn. And then I can still cast Cryptic Command the next turn by filtering the white from the Plains into 2 blue. So I'm going to lead the Flooded Strand because I want to be able to use a single path without needing to make 2 white so that I can potentially use them in different phases or something if I need to. Like I can use one in combat and hold the other for end step, for example. So I will just path the Wild Nacatl, and then let my opponent decide if they want to act or just deal 1 damage. 1 is fine here. My opponent and I seem to agree that 1 is an acceptable amount of damage to have happen. 2 creatures come down, and I also see that no basic land was found, which is good news for me. So I'm going to crack this Flooded Strand, and now the question is whether I want to get Hallowed Fountain or Plains, or Island. No, there's no reason to get Island. I think I actually am going to, again, just get Plains and use the second path, because I want to have this creature gone and be able to use a 4-mana spell on my opponent's turn. So, oh, that's interesting. I think that it's actually worth tapping out for that here. Leaves my opponent with an empty board. Even if my opponent has Swift Spear become immense, that is an amount of damage that I can live through. So I think I just want the 2-for-1 here. And then we'll take a little hit, and then use these to catch back up. I suppose the possibility of a lot more damage than I'd imagined is on the table, but I think this, yeah, it still wasn't lethal. I think I'm going to be okay. I think I just take the hit here, and then try to gain 4 with command. I'd do a lightning bolt, but I think that's just how I have to play this. Don't think I want to sack the polluted delta, because it's possible that I'll end this game without doing it, although it's also likely that I'll just draw a land and sacrifice it and play Jace. So if I play Jace, I can hold up Vendilion Clique, but not Cryptic. I think it's better to just hold up Cryptic or Vendilion and not play Jace. Although, it's possible that I was supposed to Vendilion and then play Jace. But, right, my opponent has accepted defeat. I didn't know exactly how I was going to win, but I'm willing to believe that it was probably going to happen. So, I want to board relatively similarly to the last matchup. Jace is probably too slow. Cheap counter magic is probably good. And Supreme Verdict is probably not something I want a lot of. As we saw, my opponent can just play a haste creature and punish me reasonably well for playing it, but it can also kill multiple creatures, so and it gets a fine card, but not something I want a ton of. I definitely want Spellskite. Was there something else I didn't want? I know I ended up with 2 Supreme... I think I only brought in 2 Dispels in that matchup. Dispel is better when if Magus Elemental is not the creature that's attacking me, although I don't know what instance my opponent will have that I care about other than Become Immense in Battle Rage, and based on the nature of the matchup, it would make sense for my opponent to side into having fewer of those. So I'll just go only 2 Dispel. This hand looks pretty good. Planes and pass. Thoughtseize taking Condemn is not great for me, but it's not really all that bad. I get hit by the Wild Nacatl, but then I get to play Wall of Omens. Should find mana to eventually let me Snapcast the Condemn. I do not think that I can afford to sit on Mana Leak when I'm taking 6 a turn from Wild Nacatls, especially since I want a Wall of Omens to find land. That was not. This next draw step is very important. A land is a lot better than something else. If I'm not going to draw a land, that was a relatively good card. At least I can cast it. And it should theoretically stabilize things, since we've demonstrated the wall can successfully block. I can condemn the other one, and even if my opponent finds a trick, I can have Dispel for that. So this Dispel I can essentially play as a healing salve here. I could dispel the mutagenic growth and condemn this wild Nacatl and stay at 14, or I could just condemn this wild Nacatl and hold up the dispel and take 3 and go to 11, and then my opponent will have 1 wild Nacatl and I'll have the Wall of Omens. But because I'm so constrained on mana and my opponent's down to 1 card, I think that having the extra dispel in my hand is actually not all that valuable, and I actually do want to just play it as a healing salve. So I'll counter the mutagenic growth. Condemn this thing. And now I think I can just play Jace. Stable board and a lot of life, and enough mana that I can snapcast Condemn, worst case, or Jace might find a 4th land so that I can cast Cryptic, best case. Or I could draw a path and just be able to path snap path. That'd be another great outcome. Alright, Jace down. That's fine. Alright, now I don't think I can lose this game anymore. I think I might as well counter that and draw. Agrees, was over.